I apologize. This is kind of a weird one, but I'm dealing with laryngitis. I've been sick for about a week. Folks over at microthrings.com in the chat area know about this. So I just came out through a couple things I wanted to share with you that I think I can talk through. I've recently purchased my second 3D printer. My first one was very experimental for me. I wasn't sure I'd find any use from it, but I really have. I've enjoyed it quite a bit. So recently I bought a new one and with it have really dove into making some things, particularly things I can use with my Shopsmith equipment and a lot of shop things. So for example, um, if you don't know, there are many, many designs that you can download for free to 3D print for yourself at no additional cost. Sometimes there might be a little something you pay to the designer, and then those designs will tell you whether you're allowed to make them for sale or not. But for myself, I'm not interested in getting into that business, but I'm really digging the things I've been able to make. So for example, this is a model that you can make in however many sections that you want. You could hold just a single roll of tape if you like. And as you can see, the tapes that I use the most, normally some blue or green masking tape, and then two variations of double-sided tape. These are my go-tos. I need to insert yet a broken section or a cutoff section of a hacksaw, and then these will be complete. But I really like this. There's even a newer version. I didn't pick up on this until after I printed it, that has a little bit thicker bottom that's hollow, and you can stop the print mid-print and add sand to it before you assemble the whole thing. Um, Also, there's a number of Shopsmith related items available to download and print from the website Thingiverse.com, printables.com. And my newest printer is from Bamboo Labs, and their maker, what they call that, makerspace, could be that easy. Anyway, their website, I'll link to these things, has some things that you can download. The advantage of taking it straight from Bamboo to a Bamboo printer is it's as simple as hitting print, and you select which of your filaments you want to print with, and it just goes. But you also have the ability, just like a paper printer, of being able to upsize and downsize those prints. An example of that is I've been playing around with several different designs for holding cordless drills. At work, I have a need or had a need to print 14 tool holders, and it turned out I have three different size cordless tools. Most of them are drills. One of them is an impact driver, and the design as it came straight from, I think that one came from Thingiverse, not this design, but a more rounded one, um, printed at 100%. It was the right size for a small Ryobi drill driver. So I raised it up 105%, and it's absolutely perfect for Bauer and a number of other cordless drills, and then upsized it yet again to 110% to fit an impact driver. And all total, about 85 cents worth of filament, which is just amazing to me that you could make something like this. I don't know, if you jumped on Amazon, these would probably be 10 bucks or something like that. And I can print these very inexpensively. You may have seen while I was using my dial indicator here on the main table of my Mark V, I did a combination of two different prints. And again, I commented or was discussing an issue I was having over at microthrings.com in the chat area. And somebody jumped onto Thingiverse and actually modified some parts for me. Thank you so much. So that I could get this job done. And what was done was there's a variety of miter bars that you can print. This one is for the model 500. I printed this. That's the original Shopsmith Mark V. And these miter bars are ever so slightly smaller than what you would typically find on a Delta or Jet. Um, Most of the modern cabinet saws and cabinet maker saws. This version right here is not designed for the T slot, and you can see has some recesses where you could melt in threaded inserts, which is a whole thing that people who are into 3D printing do. Also, here's one that is a T-slot that would fit into the 510, 520 table system. Again, a version of that where inserts could be threaded in, but then the one I really like has recesses that give me the ability to place a hex bolt in there. And you can see straight off the printer, there's a little bit of residue or residual filament that needs to be cleaned away. You can decide if you want to print these with 100% solid plastic, or if you want the infill, the core of it, to be 20%, 15%, 50%. You know, the less infill there is, the weaker it will be, but also the less expensive and the faster you can print them. Now, there's been some great studies and some great YouTube videos talking about what's the trade-off and where is your best investment. And really, it turns out the exterior walls, which you can build in, print in 1 or 2 or 3 or 5, however many layers you want, that the exterior walls actually contribute a lot more to the strength than the infill. And so almost everything I've been printing now, I've been printing with an infill of about 15 to 20%, but with a couple exterior walls, and that seems to have served me well. Another example, and even before I mentioned that I was doing anything with 3D printers, somebody noticed that I had this insert mounted on my Shopsmith, and you can see that this is made up in 2 pieces that are then bolted together, because I guess most of the hobbyist printers have too small of a bed to print this large of a print. That was true of both of my printers. And so print these as 2 parts. In my case, I had to clean up between them a little bit because there was a little bit of a step. And then these parts just bolt together. And you can see here that so this is a 0 clearance insert that you could then plunge a dado blade, a saw blade, whatever, use this as a backup for drilling. I was in the process of printing this one, which was going to be used for, or is to be used for, the saw table or the sanding disc. This slot goes far enough back that I can use my upper saw guard, my riving knife, on my Shopsmith, so I like that. But I ran out of filament, and so I just printed them 2 different colors. That's the only reason. Someday you might see this mounted and wondered why it's in 2 pieces. Now you know. In fact, if somebody else comments and you happen to catch it before me, you can just say, I ran out of filament. One of the earliest things for the Shopsmith that I had printed, my son printed this one for me, is a coupler or coupling that is designed to couple the headstock, the power takeoff on the far end, to a special purpose tool like your bandsaw or belt sander. And this was one of the first things I printed on my Ender printer. And so this was that first one. And then this one I printed over on my my Bamboo printer. This took, I forget how many hours. How long did this take? This took like 18 hours, I believe. And I may be mixing these up, which one was which. Anyway, about 18 hours on the Ender printer, and on the Bamboo, it printed in about 6 hours, I believe it was. And again, I haven't played around with various infills, but what I do want to point out to you is you have the ability to determine which way you want these configured on the printer bed, which would determine which way the filaments are being laid out. So in this case, my son printed it vertically, so you can see the layers of strata where layer upon layer that plastic has been melted. And that would lend to this one shearing, I would believe, more so than with this one where I printed it this direction. This is something that some destructive testing would be fantastic to determine which of these would break sooner. And, you know, that whole debate, and I've jumped in on this because I feel that the Shopsmith coupler was designed in such a way to fail if it needs to fail, but I've never had one fail. So, you know, I don't know exactly what that point is. And a few people said, oh, I wouldn't use that because what if it's too weak? Well, if my bandsaw stops spinning, it's probably not going to harm me. Um, Maybe if I'm planing something, it might affect the quality if I'm on my final pass. But if it doesn't fail, if I need it to fail, then maybe that's where some things are at risk. So I'm not suggesting that you do this, but I find it quite fascinating because if you happen to have a 3D printer and you need a coupler, you can have one of these in just a few hours and get right back in the business. Now, you may remember that I have this fella here, and I'm hoping you can see at least part of this. This is called a Bora Centipede, and it will expand out to support a 4 foot by 8 foot sheet. And I've used this with my track saw with a piece of foam on it. And it's fantastic. However, these little pivoting pads on here are just not quite enough support, especially around the perimeter. It feels like there should be a little bit more support. Bora sells an aftermarket part that fits on these, but I was able to find a print that prints essentially the exact same pad. And you can see that it plugs right in and still allows this to pivot as we need it. And again, I was able to print 4 of these overnight while I slept with a limited amount of material. I would say went through about a quarter of a roll, and a roll that I'm buying on Amazon, a filament that's about $15, right? So all of these for, let's say, $5, that's a great deal as far as I'm concerned. And I'll be printing many, many more of these. Now, the last thing I want to show you is actually in use right now on this Mark V. Let me clear some things off so I can show it to you. So you can see that I've put my 510 model table on this Mark V. The 510 has a much larger table surface than the Model 500, but doesn't have the large extruded aluminum fence rails, nor does it have the very broad fence. This is about half the width of the fence that fits on the 520 version. Also, currently, the table system and fence system that's on the Mark 7, the modern Shopsmith tool. But what I'm showing here is yet another way of mounting rear support tables. Shopsmith sells something like this today. The print that I found on Thingiverse is designed for the Model 510. I don't yet find one for the Model 520. But this allows me to very quickly throw a couple rear support tables in place. They're supported on the far side with a single leg, so it pivots on its pivot point, and it's there just to catch our stock as it comes off the saw table. I was a little bit concerned about this because, the Shopsmith version of this is made of a cast aluminum, and this is just printed plastic. And there's no set screws, there's no adjustments built into this. It's just a very static print. But I think if you're gentle in assembling this, and I'll show you how it goes together, it might have some validity. I printed this with just a 15% infill because I wanted to test it out. Printed at a 50% infill or with multiple walls on this, I think it would be much, much stronger. But even at that, I'm not feeling any flex. But let me show you exactly how this goes. So loosen this leg, and this could just swing right down out of the way like that for storage. Well, we'll pull this bottom tube out. All right, leg off, got the tube off. Here's where it got a little iffy because as soon as I pull this apart, there's really nothing supporting the weight other than these light plastic parts. But with this, I can take this apart now quite readily. And here you can see how these parts are printed. They are a mirror image of one another. And when they go onto the tube that's on the table, they go on and then just hook underneath the edge of the table. the weight of the next piece holds it in place. So kind of like the coupler. I'm not saying that this is a fraction of the quality or the safety or the usefulness of the stock Shopsmith components. But again, I was able to print these out one night while I slept and give it a try. I've never used the official Shopsmith version, and I'm sure that they work great. If they go on the way this one went on, I don't see why they wouldn't. Now, this is for the 510. I don't know if Shopsmith even sells a 520 version. I assume that they do, but I haven't gone looking for it. But I don't know. This to me, it adds confirmation to the fact that this concept works. Nice thing about it is it puts those floating tables directly behind the main table, where without these, you're left to have them one side or the other of the main table. I've shown a couple ways of filling in the gap in between, but this is easy and straightforward and might be worth a look. So, hey, thank you for putting up with my voice. I look forward to your questions, comments, cheap shots, and make it a great day.